All right. Good evening, Abusian, for yet Nyamia CBM for yet another week. I think a week, a call by so fast. You leave here the next thing you know is time around. But yet Nyamia say for the opportunity you to me enya to come back again. Today being the beginning of another month, October.
Yep.
Gradually, the months are going by so fast. The next thing you know, the
Next year
year
is
is
here.
over.
Yeah.
But yadamwase pa for throughout the whole year, from January up to this time, you guys, being with us, throughout this program. Yada Dr. Uwase, Dr. Uh, Penny Isaac and Niha, but yadana senso for throughout the whole year, no time where you make it to make this program a success, And like we say all the time, it's not necessarily coming here and just absorbing the information, but taking the information and using the information to your advantage. Maybe, information is not applicable to you, but a friend, a neighbor, a colleague might need it. Yeah,
Yeah.
which me I share that information, with that person also or yeah in need, Into last week, we started a new topic, which is debt management. In fact, we went into details what you can a car, what is a car. We spent time, to explain what a car is, and we also came up with you said you were good and bad a car.
Yep.
What are they? We are spending time going into all these details and in a form of a recap, first of all to welcome Dr. Ewa and also Dr. Ewa Ebenmayer, a little bit of a recap from last week, some of the things that we talked about, just in case if I will join in last week when you had and joining and if I will join in, and then you can also at least get something from what was discussed last week. And into that, if you can give us a little bit of a recap from like last week and in terms of some of the things that we touched on.
Yeah, sure. But for mature Biao, as Brother Sim mentioned, the point of these weekly meetings is not to come here and just sit here and just absorb information. Is to be able to take the information, apply it to your various lives, and see how it can impact you, because that's the only way you're going to really see that what we're teaching is actually really working, right? So I really encourage everyone to really take the information and actually apply it to your various lives. So as Brother Sam mentioned last week, we started on the topic of debt. And in a nutshell, or in a summary note, debt, as we know for the most part, that has a bad connotation, or it has a bad rep when it comes to bad rap when it comes to when people are talking about it, because nobody wants to be in debt, right? Because the Bible tells us what, right? The debtor, right? The borrower is slave to the lender, right? So it's always a matter of knowing the difference between and I always say this: not every debt is bad, right? You want to avoid most debt, but as long as you are borrowing for the right reasons, right? Sometimes you want to go buy something that can benefit your life, but you don't have the money available to go buy it. So you want to go and borrow from, let's just say, a bank, right? The question you now have to kind of really think about is this debt I'm going to go borrow, is it going to help me or is it going to hurt me, right? If it's going to help you, that could be a good debt, like going to borrow money to go to school, right? You're going to invest in yourself. To me, that's the best investment that you can make. Forget about the markets and all the different things. The best investment is an investment in yourself, right? So if you're going to go borrow money to go to school to specialize in an area, then to me, it's a good debt, because eventually when you come out, you're going to be able to make money in the long run to be able to pay that debt off, right? Now, if you're going to say, I want to go buy this thing, it's not really a need or a necessity. It's just, I want to get it because I think it's nice. Guess what? You now have to you go, you borrow it, and like now it push you into debt just to buy something that is going to make you happy for maybe a day, two, maybe a month, right? So you always have to do the trade-off. Is this debt going to help me, or is it going to hurt me? Any money that you borrow, right, that's going to be able to make you money, that's good debt. And any debt you borrow that's going to take money from you and put you in the bad financial situation, obviously, that's bad debt, right? Borrow money to go buy a house, that's a good debt. Borrow money for college, that's a good debt, right? Borrow money to be able to help your kids to be able to get to school, that's good debt, because you're putting the value on that money is so high. But buying money just to go, borrow money just to go shopping, or borrow money just to go buy things, just for, just to buy them because it's going to make you happy for a few days, but then it puts you in debt. Those are not very wise decisions, right? So the key thing is always to assess your situation and figure out where you are, because at the end of the day, the longer you owe anybody, the more money you're going to pay them. So just make sure that whatever money you borrow, you have the means to be able to pay that debt off eventually. Because if not, that debt can become a huge problem. Because why? Debt is the number one cancer when it comes to building wealth, right? So in a nutshell, debt is not always bad if you are using that debt to create or generate, to buy assets that can bring you cash flow, which can now help you to pay off that debt. That's good debt. Now, if you're borrowing money just to go buy and splurge, obviously, that's what? Bad debt. So, yeah.
All right, Doc, thank you so much for taking the time to break it down for us. I'm sure one of the things, like you rightly said, there are a lot of misconceptions out there. I mean, people will tell you, oh, don't take a loan for this, don't take a loan for that, don't do this, don't do that. Sometimes if you're not careful, we live in a society or in a system where okay, I want to go to school. You must sign a bit me afford to pay cash upfront, to go to school. Chances are maybe the percentage is very less. But school, so yeah, it's a necessity if you want to survive in this, American economy more. It's a necessity. So the only way for you to be able to accomplish that dream, is by taking on some student loans. Is this something that we encourage to take like 100%? Maybe no, but at some point, it gets really hard. You need it. But like Dr. West said, so investing in yourself for future growth, this is something which is considered good debt. But think about it and it's I'm going to buy a car. Your Toyota, your Nissan, Ford, all this, but you choose to say, no, and I want a BMW. So I buy like a $50,000 BMW just to drive back and forth to work. So you ask yourself the question, is that the right investment, for me, for doing that? Into a lot of people, you go into it, the next thing you know, to me the payment, the car is repossessed, your credit goes bad, then you're back to your friends at square one. Into some of these information, we are sharing this information. So anytime you're thinking about taking on or adding on like another debt, the question is this something that will bring an improvement to my life? Is this something that would change my life, or is this something, it's a luxury? I just doing it for the fun of it, And you're saying who say anytime and what it does is it prevents you from also saving. It stops because you're thinking about a monthly payment, you can barely get by. So it's very, very difficult, you even think about saving. Into some of these things, your friend is saying, last week, so now when you're joining, we just wanted to give like a recap in terms of what a car is and what are some of the things that can happen to you. So we'll fall into that debt trap and that. And Dr. Where you sue the word to say it's more like a cancer. Once it gets you, your survival rate,
is very low.
It's very low. So it can drain you, it can drown you, it can even like affect your health.
Oh, absolutely.
It can affect you because it increases stress. it increases stress. Yeah. So now, no, the question is, maybe, I've made some mistakes in the past. I didn't know about all this. Now I find myself in that trap. So how do I get out of that trap? On say I can't about debt management. Unfortunately, no, I didn't have all this information, and now I find myself drowning in debt. I don't even know how to get out. And then we just wanted to focus on, if you find yourself in that situation, some of the things that you can do to get out of it. And yeah, magic, and yeah, an overnight process. It takes a long time. But don't let anybody deceive you, sir. They can help you get out of this, your friend is saying, like overnight. There are a lot of scams out there. They'll tell you, so we'll do this for you. Pay this, do that, on all that. It's all about Wusika near there. So how do you Doug, there is this you to say, okay, if I find myself drowning in debt, there's a credit counseling companies out there that will help you do that. In your professional expertise, would you recommend like a credit counseling to someone that is finding themselves drowning in debt?
Yeah. So I think it's important that we clarify and explain the difference between credit services and debt management services, right? Because these are two separate entities. I mean, although they tie in together, they are separate services, separate entities. Now, if you are trying to improve your credit and you have no idea how to go about doing it, and sometimes it can be very daunting and very stressful, right? Mm-hmm. Seeking the service of a credit repair company, it may be something that you could look into. But the thing is, not all credit repair companies are reliable or sometimes truthful or actually do what they say they're going to do, right? You may charge you every single month, and the longer the whole point is, if you're paying them monthly payment, what is the incentive for them to help you clean your credit at a faster pace, right? Because the longer they have you as a client, the more money they're going to make, right? Mm-hmm. So a lot of times those companies can kind of drag you on, and not actually fix your credit. But there are some, decent credit repair companies out there that could potentially help you to be able to improve your score. Because if you're able to improve your credit score, you're able to put yourself in a better financial position to be able to make better financial moves, right? Now, when we talk about debt management, yes, you could seek the advice of experts that can help you to be able to manage or eliminate your debt. While financial advisor can sit down with you and kind of look at your overall plan and help you to create a strategy that can help you to be able to eliminate your debt, right? And when it comes to debt elimination, there are different strategies that you can implement or apply to your debt, right? And really, the three major ones that people often talk about, the first one will be debt consolidation, right? Mm-hmm. Where if you have 10, or let's just say you have 10 different types of debts, right? And you're paying different interest rates on all the different debts. Maybe you're paying 10% here, 15% here, 30% here, 5% here, 2% here, right? So it becomes very difficult to manage or maintain those debts, right? Sometimes you miss a payment, it puts you back in a worse situation, right? So you may want to consider taking all your debts to one company to have a debt consolidation, where you put everything together and they'll issue you one debt with one interest rate payment, right? That could be advantageous if the interest rate is not very high or is reasonable. Because sometimes those debt consolidation companies will gladly take all your debt, but it might charge you a much higher interest rate, which will kind of put you back in the same position again, right? But as long as the rate that they're charging you is fair, and you've done your research, you can see that, okay, well, this rate is fair and it's manageable, and I can actually pay it. It may make a lot of sense to go down that route, right? Now they have another method, right? That a lot that I teach quite a bit, right? Which is the snowball effect, right? Dave Ramsey is pretty popular for that method, right? The snowball, where let's say you have 5 to 10 different different types of debts, right? Varying interest rates. Maybe you write down a piece of paper, you list down all your debts from 1 to 10, from smallest to largest. You look at all the different interest rates, right? And then you focus your attention on paying off the smallest debt first while you pay the minimums on all the other debts, right? Because what you don't want to do is not pay nothing on any of the debts, because it's going to put you late payments, which is going to affect your credit and also put you into more trouble, right? So you want to focus on paying off the smallest debt while you're paying the minimum on all the other debts. And eventually, when you pay off the smallest debt, whatever you are using to pay that one off, you now take that money, you put it on to the next smallest debt, right? And then you continue to pay it every single month on the minimum payments on all the other debts, and you're attacking the next smallest debt, right? And then when you finish that one, you now take the combined payment on to the next debt, right? So you're literally rolling over money, right? You're picking up a snowball, right? You start from small and you're getting bigger and bigger and bigger, right? Until eventually you pay off all your debts, and you now have the money that you can use to start investing and trying to build wealth, right? The idea and the premise is that you are not going to incur more or new debt, right? So you have to be disciplined enough to be able to continue to apply that method while not bringing on or adding new debt. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Now, the other strategy or the other method is the debt avalanche, right? These days everybody want to create your own thing, right? The debt avalanche. Well, the debt avalanche is similar to the debt snowball, but in that debt avalanche method, your focus is paying off the highest debt first, right? The idea is, okay, well, if I pay off the highest debt, I'm going to feel so good that I've accomplished something so big. It's going to give me the energy and the passion to try to pay off the other debts, right? The debt snowball is, hey, let me try to gain some momentum. Let me pay this small debt off and start building some momentum, start paying on my other. So there are different perspectives on the two different methods I just described, right? So the key thing is to figure out what works for you, right? You look at your expenses, you look at your income, you look at your debts, right? And based on where you are financially, one of those three strategies might work best for you. For somebody else who's not making a lot of income, maybe the debt snowball might work best for them because it's requiring minimum payments, right? But for somebody who's making a lot of income, right, maybe they can attack the debt snowball, the debt avalanche, to pay off the larger debts and then go from there, right? So no one size should fit everybody.
Yes.
Right. You have to assess your situation and figure out which of the three options is the most feasible and the most easiest for you to be able to do an attack. The whole thing is to start somewhere. Right. So, yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much, Doc, for the information friends was shared. Yet for say a fair na what journey in fact yama to and yeah financial program no yeah that was a part for all the time, the time where winya na uni and be this argument way, nti and in fact last week you started the topic, debt management, and yeah continue also and you find yourself to say you are entangled in that debt trap, you're trying to get out, but you don't see any way out.
Yeah.
Some of the strategies now, share or is to help you, us, and all our friends and anybody. Abia wouldn't be just say what fall into that trap, to be able to get out of that trap. And Dr. Wenya at the time, I'm and the three possible options you bet to me, friends, use to. On says some of these things, yeah, can once no, Dr. was shared with us, The key a year woman is it requires discipline.
Absolutely. Yep.
Discipline. On say So when you're disciplined, you start some of these things, you do it for like a couple of months, then you let go. So you are back to
Square
square
one.
one. Into the year can no. Yes, all these strategies are out there, no. But me as an individual, no, I need to exercise, I need to own the situation, no, and I need to exercise that discipline, no, to be able to come out of that kind of into, and that's the reason. So what should technically some of us, we lack that discipline, and because we lack that discipline, we tend to like an expert, which sometimes is the best. You go to the expert, yeah, kind of like credit counseling, you need idea, they help you and help you to get focused and also discipline. I want you because they will set up all these strategies in it for you, and they'll hold you accountable. Say every month to be you made that promise and say you make this payment, so they will hold you accountable for you to do that. However, like Dr. West said, some of these services, they are not free. They are not free. They come with a cost. That was okay. This cost, and I can even use that money and apply it to idea way and pay off me, But if say you are not as disciplined as some of us are, then you revert to some of these people so they can keep you on track. Inti, Doc, yeah, there was a path for the information. Your friend is we're breaking it down for us now. We are also looking at the fact, and they say, I'm practicing these three options now, in terms of debt consolidation. I put everything, I find a banker, they can put all my debt need together, give me one payment. Bear in mind, sir, the best way out is once they put everything together now, all these different accounts, it has to be closed.
Yep.
Because if you don't close it, the temptation is there for you to go back and use up all these credit cards again. So they do it for you. They close it. Now you have one account, one payment that will help you. Your friend is saying going forward. But now, I want to be able to maybe do it on my own. So Doc, can we use like a budget system as part of our debt management, to help us pay? I know, so we've talked about budget in the past, but now if I find myself in this situation, I want to get out. Can I use budget as another means to be able to get out of my debt?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a huge proponent of creating a budget because the budget gives you a clear picture on your financial state, right? And it also allows you to be able to figure out how you're spending your money. And by having a budget, you're going to be able to determine on a monthly basis how much you can direct towards your monthly debts or your monthly expenses, right? And also by creating a budget and writing all your expenses and debt down, you're going to be able to see where you are overspending money, right, and where you can cut back. Because at the end of the day, there's really two major things. It's either you're going to make more money or you're going to cut back and save more of what you're already making, right? So if you're able to go through that debt plan and cut and see that, hey, I'm overspending on this different two areas here. Let me cut back and take some of that money and add to my debt. It's going to give you a clear picture and a goal to be able to pursue your debt. But having a budget, to me, is absolutely vital when it comes to being able to manage and maintain your finances, not just the debt plan, just your finances in general. Having a strong budget plan is extremely important, right? And the idea of the budget is not to make you tight or restrict you, it's to guide you. It's able to help you to be able to control your spending. Because if you don't control your spending, that's how you end up in debt. Because if you don't control your spending, you don't have enough money to pay for things, so you end up going and go using credit. And credit, the reason why they created credit is very easy to use. There's no emotion attached. There's no pain when you use credit. It's actually fun because because you are using somebody else's money. So it's like you don't care. So it's actually a lot of psychology involved in this. By using the plastic, it's easy. So you're going to spend more money. Think about it. When you break $100 bill, or when you have $100 bill in your pocket, you have a credit card in your other pocket. Which is easier to spend, the credit card or breaking a $100 bill?
Yeah, the credit card. That's easy.
Especially a fresh $100 bill. It's easier to spend the credit card. Number one, it's not your own money, and number two, there's no emotions attached to it. But to break that $100, like, oh my God, man, I don't feel like breaking this thing, man. This thing is, you're gonna try to keep that thing in your pocket as long as you can, right? That's why they made the credit card, because it's easier to spend the money. And most people, right, if you're not disciplined, it's going to really, really put you in a very bad financial situation. That's why, if you have a lot of debt and you are serious about eliminating your debt or reducing your debt, you are literally going to find a way to either cancel your credit cards or hide your credit cards. Now, I'm not a major fan, about canceling all your credit cards, right? Because at the end of the day, those credit cards are part of how you build your credit, right? And, the number of years you have credit is one of the components of building credit. So if you cancel your credit cards, you now lose those years, right? So what you could do is that you can find, or you can hand your credit cards and put them in something that is going to be very, very difficult for you to be able to access.
Yeah.
While you focus on trying to pay off your debt. Because if you are trying to pay off your debt and you still have access to more credit cards, as you pay this stuff off, you're going to spend more over here, right? So that's, and as Brother Sam mentioned, if you're going to consolidate your debt, they close those credit cards, because why? They don't want you to have your debt with them and then still have access to those credit cards, because why? You've already shown a tendency to spend. That's how you got into this predicament in the first place.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So it behooves them. It makes sense for them to cancel those other credit cards, and then they are now your only, loan place. So it's just like I said, it's really about which strategy works best for the person. But sometimes having multiple debts and multiple accounts can really cause a lot of stress. So you can't even focus on what or organize it, right? But if you're able to be disciplined, you sit down, you write every single thing down. You're able to now go through one by one and figure out how you want to attack it.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Doc. I mean, this is vital information. I mean, on say, yeah, can't about aka or debt. Yeah, can't in the first place, one of the reasons in here we find ourselves in this situation is because we don't have a budget. Some of us, we don't even know how much we earn, and we don't even know the expenses that we make. Intina, necessary say when it comes into debt management, obia family be say individuals, families, whatever it is, it's imperative that you have a budget where you are able to track what's coming in and what's going out.
Yes.
Once you are able to determine it also helps you to know, say, you know what, you make that decision and say, I need to buy these shoes. Do I really need it? Chances are maybe I don't.
Yep.
I already have 10 pairs already. Why do I need another one? So I can spend that $50, $60, $70 now and can maybe that shoe to help pay down the debts that I have. It's really important that every family be in fact the for say na wo join here can but a kwan befa so a kabia ya dibia no will minimize it and we'll get out of that trap. One of the tools is by creating a budget. So don't forget about it. And I said my budget no being control say it's not necessary. It is necessary.
Very, very much so.
Yeah. If you want to get out of that. Now, Doc, right now, no, is it advisable for me as I'm paying down this debt, all the tricks I watching now know about debt consolidation, snowballing, avalanche, now, if I find myself, say, I'm paying down the debt, now, no, I'm down to maybe about like 25% or maybe 15%. Is it advisable for me to go back again and start all over again, knowing that, okay, hey, now I'm almost over. Can I start all over again?
Yeah, that's a great question, right? And that is one of the biggest cause of people going back into debt, right? Because they paid their debt down significantly, and because of that, they feel so good and they feel like they have things under control.
Mm-hmm.
They now go and start spending more money, accruing more debt, right? You are now putting yourself right back in that cycle.
Yeah.
Right? The idea is that if you have the determination and the desire to pay off whatever debt that you have, you focus on paying that debt off. And then once that debt is paid off, if you say, hey, I need to go get this thing here, I need to go get this loan because it can help me out to be able to better my life, then okay, fine. But while you are in the process of trying to eliminate or pay off your debt, it's not advisable to go reopen new accounts. Right? It's actually detrimental because why? You are putting yourself in a situation where you are not even finished with a plan, but yet you are trying to initiate more debt, right? Because here's the thing, right? Debt can be very addictive. Really, because in your mind, you say, hey, well, it's not my money. So if I cannot pay it back, well, whatever, right? But you have no idea how much that can affect you financially. Because yes, it's irresponsible, number one, first of all, to not want to pay your debts, right? Because when you're going to go get that debt or that money, you appear to be this, oh, I'm going to pay everything back. Now that you got the money or the loan, you now, oh, I can't pay it back. I don't have enough money, so I can't pay it back, so I'm not going to pay. That's not how you should be, right? If you owe something, it is your responsibility to make sure you pay it back because it's all about credibility. Because if you pay it back, when you go back again and try to get it next time, it's easier the second time to get that plus more, right? But now if you decide, hey, I'm not going to pay because I'm in too much debt, guess what? You are now hurting yourself because guess what? If you get to a place where all the different institutes are now blackballing you, they don't want to lend to you, you put yourself in the actual worst financial situation because why? At some point, you're going to want to need a loan to go buy a house if you don't have a house. You're going to want to need a loan to go buy a car if you don't have a car, right? So it's so important and imperative that once you get in the zone of paying off your debt, you have that discipline, you have that focus, and you pay that debt down without having to go reopen new accounts. It is very, very tempting to open accounts. I'm telling you, right? And especially when you have good credit, it's like you feel like you can just get whatever you want. So sometimes, even me myself, I've been in a predicament where I say, you know what, man, I have excellent credit. I can go out and just get. So I even have those temptations, right? But I've seen what having debt can do to people that it makes me discipline and restrain myself from going into that trap because that is a trap. Now, like I said, if you are growing wealth, like I said, there are a lot of wealthy people that use debt to get more wealthy. It's a strategy if you know how to use it. But if you are inundated in debt and you're trying to get out of debt, don't go try to figure out how to use debt as a strategy. You see what I'm saying? Because there's a big difference between consumer debt and business debt. Consumer debt you can't write off. Business debt you can actually write off. Right? So.
Yeah, thank you so much, Doug. I mean, this is interesting and very informative discussion. We are hoping, sir, you're cheer for no, and in fact, you're cheer for we are not perfect. No, at some point, you're falling into and we learn our mistakes, and that's one of the reasons Cynthia, in fact, shared this information with us, and because a lot of the time, like Dr. Wu said, a lot of the time, once we begin paying down our debts in a part, you know what I just said, we feel say yeah, then right away, we go back again, forgetting say maybe a year or two back, now I was in this situation. Oh, and yeah, can no, once you the whole idea is for us to get out of a car. That's the whole premise of our discussion. Nti sɛ nyame boa wo na sɛ you pay it down please yɛtiefoɔ yɛsan asi so biem. Don't go back and repeat the same habit again. If not, you'll find yourself in the same situation. In our previous discussion, what some of the car will do to you, it brings stress. Some of us, diabetes, high blood pressure, and all this, over the root cause,
money, financial,
financial stress at the brain. You best stress you better take some of this information share also Doc, one of the things in fact I have realized and as I've discovered with a lot of us is our monthly bills are or statements, let me put it, statements that we get, either our bank statement, our credit card statement, or whatever statement to be a ban. Some of us, we don't even have the time, to even review some of these things, You care about debt management, but it is also important, sir, this statement, your bank statement, your credit card statement, all these statements are airborne. You bring that just spending time and reviewing line by line items. Into dog, what is your take on that? No, sir. Who say it is really necessary because some of us we get it, we don't even open it, then we toss it because hey, I'm going to do the minimum payment. So I mean, why do I even have to bother about opening it up and looking at all this? If I do that, what benefit does it bring to me in terms of my debt management?
I mean, obviously, I think it's extremely important to review your debt statements, right? Because number one, it helps you to be able to see the progress that you're making, right? So it encourages you to continue to stay on the track and make sure that, hey, I made this payment. Actually, by looking at the statement, you can see and confirm that your payment was actually applied. Because sometimes when you make a statement or when you make a payment, somehow, some way, it's not applied. And if you don't look at it, you continue to make the payments and it's not been applied, right? Maybe sometimes the debit card or the account number that you put on the platform to make your payments, maybe it was a wrong one or something happened and it stopped. But you think that every month you're making a payment, but something, the account has stopped drafting, right? So like now you go a month in, month out, month in, month out, no payment is being made. You think it's being made, but you are still spending, right? You now go back later on and look at it. Oh my God, for the past 6-7 months, the payments have not been applied. You are still in that debt. Guess what? The company is still charging you interest rate on that debt, right? But when you review your statement, you see that, hey, everything I'm paying is actually going towards what? The debt. You can see how much of the payment is going towards the principal, how much is going towards the interest. And if the statement does not show you, you can call the bank or whoever the lender is and ask them, when I make this payment, how much is going towards my principal, how much is going towards my interest. You want to know because you want to hold yourself accountable. It's all part of the discipline. Because even your regular bank statement, when you get the bank statements, take time and review it. Because sometimes all this scamming that's going on, somebody could be taking money from your account, and if you're not reviewing your statement, you're not seeing it. And sometimes they don't take large amounts to alert you, right? They take small amount, $10, $12, $5, and you don't notice. And they do it for a year, 2-3 years. That stuff adds up. Because you're not reviewing your statements, you're not seeing the activity that's going on in your account. So if you're actually serious about wanting to be more responsible financially, about wanting to get out of debt and actually get on the road to be financially independent, you want to hold yourself accountable and review all your statements when they come, right? From your bank statements when it come, to see what's happening in your account on a month-to-month basis. Is everything that you see on the statement, is it from you? Are you the one that made those the purchases, right? If it's not, you call the bank. Hey, I did not make this purchase. I don't know who did, but I want to what? Fight it.
Yeah.
Right? And the bank will try to fight it, and if they can't prove that who it was, they refund your money back. Right? So it's your responsibility to what? Look on, and sometimes they don't refund you back because they can say, well, how come you didn't report it earlier? Right? And it's been several months. So it's really, by being responsible and making sure that you are in control of your debt elimination program, that once you get on a journey, that you are holding yourself accountable and you're not making any excuses. You're going to do all the work it requires to make sure it happens. Because if you don't do it, nobody's going to do it for you.
Right.
And when you stay in debt, and the more debt and the more stressed are you going to be, the more health issues you're going to have, the less friendly you're going to be. I mean, just having debt causes so many problems, not just money. It affects so many areas of your life. So, but once you get on a debt elimination plan and a journey, you can see your whole nature is changing. Because why? You will now see that you are making progress, right? Progress is one of the best keys to success.
Yeah, and it's always it makes you feel good. I mean, when you see that you're making progress in terms of what you're doing, And Doug, yeah, kind about your friends reviewing our statement and making all this, an example, a couple that I sat with, a while back, almost every month they make their mortgage payment. They make their mortgage payment, and all of a sudden, one day or much they got a notice for foreclosure.
Hi.
And they're wondering, okay, what's going on? Every month we make our payment. But apparently, no, it was a mistake from the bank side, where they had changed their system and the account number was changed. And anytime they send in the payment, and the payment, was being applied to somebody else's account. And it went on till into the foreclosure, just draw my attention. And the bank looked into it. I mean, it dragged for a long time. For a long time before finally they were able to resolve some of these things. But the truth in it, say initially, if they had taken time to review it and to make sure, hey, the payment that I sent in is applied to the account, because when you go online and you look at this, I mean, it'll tell you the breakdown, how much went into principal, how much went into interest. This is your loan balance after applying all this, and now this is your loan balance. But some of us, we are so busy, we don't have time to look at some of these things. So, in fact, we are sharing this information. Say, be or if you are not in the habit of reviewing your statement, please start now and do it. And Doug, you made mention of the fact that they wouldn't take out like large amount. These are small amounts, and some of that we don't even pay attention to, like $10. Okay, $10 is not a big deal. $20 is not a big deal, but trust me, it adds up.
Big time.
So
big time.
Yeah, find time, review, make sure everything that is on the statement,
it's yours.
It's yours. You actually made those purchases, If not, please don't wait too long. Call, dispute the transaction, and yes, sir, sometimes you only have like 60 days to dispute some of these transactions, And after 60 days, it's a done deal, near there. The last year, it's Please. So when you're looking about debt management, please don't add more credit cards. As you pay off this credit cards, we are not advising says if you do it on your own, we are not advising say close it. Please, you can hide that credit card so you don't have access to it.
Yep.
Because the longer you have that credit card, what to build your credit history.
Yep.
So we are not advising say close it, but hide it from you.
Yes.
Keep it in a place. Don't leave it in your wallet.
Yep.
Because if you do, you'll be tempted to spend. Doug, you better say, and for you, for enumerate your program. Your last words as we wrap up and bring today's segment to a close.
Yeah, but as always, the goal of why we come here is to help you guys and provide information, vital information that can help you guys to be able to achieve your financial goals. And every time we come on here, whatever we are sharing is by design, and all these things, they all work together. So sometimes it may sound like it's a lot of information. Take what's applicable to you. Mm-hmm. The rest you don't need, throw it away, right? Because not everything is going to apply to you, right? So whatever's applicable applies to you, take it. The rest, dump it, and continue to add more information and learn more information. Like I said, if you need us, we're here and we're happy to help.
Yeah, Doug, that was it. You're here for so, and you marry that was for the time when you're with us. We know, sir, debt management, really deep topic, complicated, but like Doug said, be applicable to you, and you marry what last week, try to make some changes in your life. Maybe if it's not applicable to you, your friend, your neighbor, whoever that if you are finding themselves in that situation, you can share the information with them. For more time on your dog. For your time. Until say next week in your
I bless you all.
All right.
Take care. Bye-bye.